Today I want to talk about Kendal Daniels and the news around him being released from his national letter of intent, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about 2021 four-star safety Kendal Daniels, who has reportedly been released from his national letter of intent. This first reported by the Sooners Bread podcast and then confirmed by the folks down at Texas A&M. Now, one of the things that I thought was interesting about Kendal Daniels to start with is that he was so good on both sides of the ball, and his recruiting was really coming down to some real hitters like LSU, Clemson, Oklahoma, and of course, Ampersand U. He ends up signing with Ampersand U, and then there was some discussion about whether or not there were even scholarships available for him at the time at Oklahoma, which seems bonkers to me, and I really don't know how you don't make room for Kendal Daniels. And I like to think that he just made a decision that was for himself, but this is also a decision that's for himself, and it seems like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are back in play. But first, let's get you a little bit of background on Daniels. Coming out of Beggs, Oklahoma, which is just down the road from me, and a guy that I had known about for the last 3 years, quite honestly, but was a Max Preps All-American as a senior at Beggs with 120 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 4 interceptions. Then on the other side of the ball, caught 56 passes. Like, Kendal can do it all. And I really looked at him as the kind of guy that Isaiah Simmons was at Clemson. Isaiah Simmons being that hybrid safety linebacker that could play really 5 positions for you. All your linebacker positions, both your safety positions, maybe even that edge rusher position, because they did line him up in a 4'9" technique and send him after the quarterback from time to time. But you can also let that kind of guy play center field and be a rover for you, roaming. I called him a destroyer of worlds, and I believe that's where you're going to see football going, especially in the middle of the defense, when you're looking for that nickel slot type that also can go inside and stop people between the tackles, but also run with tight ends and small slot receivers on those go routes, on those extended routes, those posts, those flags, and give you the kind of lockdown defender, but also steady tackler that so many defensive coordinators are coming to depend on with the proliferation of air raid concepts, no huddle scheme, and quarterbacks just getting that much better at picking apart your defense. Again, it's like a chessboard. If you're the offense, you're white. You get to go first. You get to set the tempo. Having a queen, right, like a Kendal Daniels or an Isaiah Simmons is going to help you combat that threat and even give you some counterattacking moves when you can blitz that person, when you can drop them into coverage, when you can play cover 2 with them and a Tampa 2 kind of defense. So knowing that Kendal Daniels is on the market, you got to believe that Oklahoma's going to try to make a run at him because it felt like the natural fit for him. He has family that has gone to Oklahoma, but he also had a teammate that committed and signed with Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State is closer-ish to Beggs, Oklahoma than it is to Norman, Oklahoma. Reached out to Daniels, haven't heard back from him. If I do hear something back from him, I will, of course, let you know what I can let you know, but I am as fascinated to figure this out as you are because I think that Kendal Daniels can change your defense, especially knowing for Oklahoma, you lost Brendan Buki Radley-Hiles to the transfer portal. Now, he could come out of the portal, and Lincoln Riley has made it known and clear and said into a microphone he would love for Brendan Radley-Hiles to return to Oklahoma. It would mean the world to him to do that, and I think that Buki is that kind of a player. But if you're losing Brendan to the transfer portal, being able to bring in a Kendal Daniels is going to help you tremendously. And you're going to feel probably a little bit better about that because you get the extra 2 years of eligibility. You have a guy that can grow into your program and perhaps can play strong safety, free safety, or nickel, right? Or you could even put him inside. We've seen Alex Grinch do that with other players like Jamal Morris, like Robert Barnes before he went in the portal, came out at Colorado. David Ugwebu moved from rush linebacker to inside linebacker. You also have a Shane Witter, that is going to, I think, turn into a monster. Like, his tape coming out of high school was awesome. I really love watching him, and I want to see him continue to be the kind of player that I think he could be. You're also going to get Marcus Hicks on that defensive line back. He's recovering well. Oklahoma's loaded for bear this year. I've said it. I will continue to say it. Oklahoma should be in the national championship game this year, and it should win a national championship this year. This is the window for them with the quarterback play coming together, with the super talent at wide receiver. Like, the idea that you might have a defense that could actually go toe-to-toe with your offense has got to be salivating for Oklahoma fans, because the year that Oklahoma was best situated to win the national championship in the Lincoln Riley era is 2017, and the defense was abysmal. It was awful. Last year, Oklahoma had a defense that finished in the top 15 in SP+. You return a ton of those players. Marcus Stripling is back. Isaiah Thomas is back. You get Jalen Redmond back, right? That's huge for you, along with Nick Benito. And I mentioned what you got in the secondary play. You're going to get what I think is going to be a magic year out of Jaden Davis. You also get to grow up other dudes like Kendal Daniels. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun to be an Oklahoma fan. They're going to be a team to watch, and I'm going to have my eye on them. I always have my eye on them, but like, the reason that I find this to be so interesting about Daniels is you don't necessarily see a lot of kids getting out of their national letter of intent, one. And two, you certainly don't see a lot of it if there hasn't been a coaching change. Usually, you'll have athletic departments that be like, cool, we changed head coaches. That's not the guy that you signed up with. We're going to let you out of that. And I believe that you should have a blanket rule that says if you got a coaching change that comes after signing day, you just blanketly let all the kids out of their national letter of intent, and if they want to stay in them, fine. That's great. But the idea that you're going to lose that kind of a player at Texas A&M, I'm sure Jimbo Fisher, Mike Elko were not necessarily prepared for, but kudos to them for letting him out of that letter of intent, and we'll see how his recruiting goes, because I know that he can play at Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State, certainly at Texas A&M. They're going to get a player, and I can't wait to see what he decides to do going forward. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.